And our next speaker is Joost van der Scheer. He's been prolific in creating resources for the Jekyll community, and Joost's talk is an introduction to Jekyll for front-end developers.
Hi, Mike. Thank you for having me. It's a real honor.
Of course.
Um, I'm the author of Jekyll Codex, a website for front-end developers. And my talk today will be a talk for front-end developers. I like to see myself as a dinosaur, a dev dinosaur, as Chris Ferdinandi coined this term. I'm the only owner of a web development company, and I build websites for a living. And in my spare time, I answer Jekyll-related questions on Stack Overflow. And what I see in the Jekyll community is that front-end developers and starters are having a problem understanding how simple Jekyll actually is. And I think there are three reasons for that, and I want to address them today. So I want to address them and also show with some coding, some actual live coding, how to build a website, a basic website, without a command line in the browser. So what I think are the three main problems is if you go to the JekyllRB.com website, so you go to the original, the official documentation, you'll see there's command line commands to start your Jekyll project, and that might scare a lot of people off. If they're correct, if everything works on your computer, it's no problem. But if something fails, we see on Stack Overflow that people don't know how to fix that. The second problem is the themes. So if you go to the JekyllRB.com website, you'll see that there's a command that says, let me read it. It says, Jekyll new my awesome site. And what that actually does is it creates a new project with an existing theme. And this existing theme is the theme Minima. And what it does is you inherit this code from this theme. And we all, if you're a developer, you know this. If you inherit code from somebody else, it's difficult to understand at first. So this is not a problem. And the final problem, the third problem, is the base URL. A lot of people deploy their website to GitHub pages because it's free, it's easy, it's integrated. Well, and what we see, 1 in 10 questions is about why does my CSS not load? Or why does this link not work? Well, that's because of the base URL. So again, we're going to build a website. I'm going to show you how to build it. And we're going to do that without the command line in the browser. We're going to do it from scratch. So we'll not be using a theme. And we'll do it in within 20 minutes. I already wasted 3.5 minutes. So let's go. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. I hope I select the right one. That's right. All right, there we are. There's the command line command I talked about. And we'll be starting in GitHub. And we'll be starting with a new Git repository. We'll create one just for this conference. And we'll call it live. We're going to make it public. And we're going to add a git ignore so that our output is not part of our repository. This is just some basic things you can use. Of course, you need a GitHub account. They are free. If you do so, you'll create a basic GitHub repository like this. And it contains nothing but the git ignore file. We'll be starting with creating some basic HTML. So a lot of speakers before me told that Jekyll was easy, was lightweight, was simple, and I'm going to show you how simple, how lightweight it is. Okay, we're going to create a new file, and this new file is going to be in the directory layouts. And well, I will not go into the details about why we need to have this in the layouts directory, but believe me, it needs to be there. We're just going to create a basic HTML page in the layouts directory. And a basic HTML page in the layouts directory is going to look like this. A doc type. Oh, excuse me. Let's look at what I'm typing. A doc type. And head. And I'm going to make this real basic because I don't have much time. So we'll be doing this pretty quick. And we're going to add a content variable. This is liquid. The content variable is later filled in with our actual HTML. We're going to do this fully from the browser. So we create an HTML page here, and we commit it to our repository. It's as simple as that. We don't have to enter any additional information. We'll do that for us. When we go to our project, we'll see here that we have a layouts directory created with a page.html file in there. Now we're going to create a new file, and this is going to be our index file. Normally you would say index.html, but we're going to call it index.md, which stands for Markdown. And Markdown uses front matter, which are variables that are that your page starts with. And we're going to reference the layout we just created, and we don't have to enter the HTML extension. We can start like this. We're going to call this about this website, and we're going to write some lorem ipsum here, like this. So, well done. We have an index file, and which refers to this layout file, and well, we would like to see what it looks like, right? I'm curious, but how do we do that? Well, we can now already publish this to GitHub Pages. It's this simple. Just go to Settings, go to GitHub Pages, down here, GitHub Pages, and we'll select the master branch. That's all there is to it. Right now, our page is being built on GitHub Pages, but it takes a while. Because building a Jekyll site takes a while, and this also. Although this is a very small website, github.io. So what you need to do is you need to enter your username .github.io / and then your repository name. And we just called this thing JekyllConf 2019_live. There it is. This is what we created. And let's look at the code. See if that works. Yeah, that works. That worked. Well, this thing. There it is. Okay, so this is what we just entered, right? And we entered the H1, heading 1 in Markdown, and we added lorem ipsum. So this is not a website. Well, it is a website, a really, really basic website that loads really fast, but we're going to make it a nice looking website. And that's really easy because this talk is intended for front-end developers, and they like nice looking things. So what we're going to do is we're going to need a CSS file. So we need a CSS directory, a CSS file like this, and then we'll add some CSS in there. And obviously I prepared some CSS for this. We'll have some basic CSS here. Okay. So some basic CSS, but that doesn't make it beautiful. What I like to use if I'm building a website is a boot swatch. If I want to go quick. And boot swatch are free themes for Bootstrap, Twitter Bootstrap. You probably heard of it. If you're a front-end developer, you must have heard of it. And we use a Twitter Bootstrap theme. Let's use this one. Has a nice orange header. Yeah, I like it. Let's download it. And let's open it. Right. Good. Well, let's create another file and let's call this one boot swatch min CSS like this. Okay. So now we have a boot swatch, a theme, we have some custom CSS, and we have some HTML. But HTML is far from ready. And the basic thing we need is some includes. There are always parts in a website you need to reuse, like, for example, a header with a menu or a sidebar or a footer. So we're going to create those things. In the directory includes, we're going to create a header. And we'll leave it empty, no problem. We'll create a footer. And we can just name these things footer.html because we'll be entering HTML in them later. And we create a sidebar. Right. So let's see. Now it would be nice if we had some JavaScript in Bootstrap. Has some JavaScript that enables you to do some extra stuff like a responsive menu and stuff like that. So we're going to load that. And I downloaded them already. So we're going to add them to our layout. Let's see. Here's our layout. And we're going to add our JavaScript. And in our head, we're going to add the boot swatch and the style sheet. And what you see now is here, I promised you another thing. I promised you to talk about the base URL. The base URL is what goes wrong most of the time. And the base URL is this thing, and it's in front of the CSS directory. And what it needs to contain is the repository name. And I'm going to show it to you now. Right now, we're going to commit this one. And we're going to put this base URL in our project. So we're going to create a config.yaml. And we're going to say base URL. And this is important because this is where it goes wrong most of the time. JekyllConf 2019 _live. So every URL we use, we prepend it with this base URL, so it knows that it's in the subdirectory or in the whatever subpath JekyllConf _2019 _live. We're also going to do something to make the permalinks nice. We're going to make them pretty. A neat feature of Jekyll. So these are some basics, and I'm curious to see what it looks like. Well, we see the font already from the boot swatch theme, and we had an empty header, empty footer, empty sidebar created, and we're going to add them to our layout. So let's go. Well, I'm going to write this just to show you that it's not that hard. Of course, I could copy paste it, but it's nicer to write it. We're going to include the header.html we just created, and it will automatically look in the includes folder we put it in. We include the header, and then we create a div with and you front-end developers will recognize this, a container that limits the width of the site. And in this container, we'll create another div with a class row. And yeah, you expected it. Another div with call MD7. So now we have the content div, which is 7 out of 12, which is it's a 12 element grid, and we use 7 elements of them. And then we create one empty one. This could be done nicer, but I'm doing this so that it stays easy to understand. And we create the last one. Like this. And in the last one, we would love to have another include the sidebar .html. Then we need to close the row, close the container. We're done. Well, we need a footer. Almost forgot about it. Let's add the footer here. Include footer.html. All right, like this. Commit. So we're already 60 minutes in. We have a nice website. It has a boot switch theme. It has some custom CSS. It has columns, and we're going to look if they're already live on GitHub Pages. Well, don't see them yet. It takes a while. This is another thing people complain about. It takes a while. And yeah, that's true. But the upside is if you do this on a local machine, you'll get update times of less than a second. If you do it on the web, it takes a little longer. But hey, we get a lot for free too. So this is the contact page, and it reads lorem ipsum 2 like this. So we create another page. So now we have 2 pages. And maybe in the meantime, yeah, we have something here. As you can see now, we have columns. Well, we can't see it because the sidebar is still empty. So let's put something in the sidebar. And I'm going to copy paste that because that's quicker. And typing it out. So we're going to add a sidebar. So normally I would use a well, but we've upgraded to Bootstrap 4, and therefore we use a card like this. Again, in the link, we see a button here. Within the link, the link, the href to the site.base URL /contact. So /contact is the actual URL on the site. The base URL needs to be in front of that, so we can edit that. If we're on GitHub Pages, we need it to be the repository name. Okay, we commit that. And while we wait on this to deploy to GitHub Pages, we update the footer and the header. In the footer, we just put a div with an ID footer and a copyright notice. Well, there's no actual copyright. You can use this, no problem. Of course, it's there for you. And the header, and in the header, I copied a code example from Bootstrap. Nav, I'll show you. So there are all kinds of navigation bars like this, and you see this is good looking, but they also have drop downs, and they also have colors down here, some nice colors. So with some code examples, and I've copied one of them, I'm going to put that in the header. I will do that here. There we are. Again, you see the base URL there with a link and the about page, which is the index page, and the contact page. They're present as you expect them to be. Let's see. So there we are. We have a footer, we have a sidebar, and we have the main content. And we can switch to the contact page. And if we wait for a while, we'll also get this nice looking header. What's next? Well, what did I want to show you? I want to show you it's easy, it's simple, it's doable to build a website within the browser, within GitHub. And now we have a website with full version control. But we might want to have a CMS too. And therefore, there are a lot of options, of course. But one of them is Cloud Cannon. And we're going to look at Cloud Cannon. I also like Forestry. But Cloud Cannon has an additional advantage, and that is that it also contains hosting. So we're going to add a new site, and we're going to call it JekyllConf 2019_live, and we're going to connect to the GitHub repository we just created. And I built a few sites, as you can see, and we're connecting this thing, starting our site build. And this is the magic. I mean, the fireworks, everything. Open the dashboard, and we get a URL from Cloud Cannon where the website is actually at, but it's not loading, and that's because of the base URL, and that is still present in our config file, 2019_live. There it is. This is our website. We can switch between the contact page and the about page. Right. And if we make it smaller, I'm not sure if that works. Oh, I could do that like this. We see it's responsive. Has a nice responsive menu in there. Well, that was quite easy. I'm 21 minutes in, and I got the website I wanted. Now, I didn't think I had time for this, but I'm having now. So I'm going to add a little extra from my own website, which is Jekyll Codex. And I've created a list of snippets you can use in your Jekyll site. For example, a form builder, which I think is really, really useful. So what we need to do is we need to add some, there's a manual here. What you need to do is you need to add some front matter to your file. We're going to do that in our website. We're going to add some front matter to our contact page. Okay, and we don't need the double dashes because that would go wrong. We commit it. And let's see what it says more. It says, make sure your front matter of the page looks like the example above. We just did that. We download the form.html file. All right. So we put that in our includes directory. Here, create a new file, and it's called form.html. It contains this code. Okay, what's the next step? Save the file in includes directory. We just did that, and add the following line to your layout, where it should appear. Let's do that too in our layout. We have a layout here, and there we can add our form. Now, what I did not show you yet is I connected it to Cloud Cannon, and you have seen that it's hosted there, but you did not see what the advantages were of adding Cloud Cannon to this website. So this is on GitHub pages. We see here our URL. We can refresh this, and there it is. This is the about page. Let's refresh it. Yeah, we had some browser cache issues there. All right, and now let's go to our deployed version on Cloud Cannon. We also have the about and our contact. But our contact page now, because this took a while, now contains this form. And I'm going to show you in Cloud Cannon what this actually means for your clients, because you can give your clients access to Cloud Cannon. And if you do that, they'll see something like this. They'll see the home page, the about page, and the contact page. And if they go to the contact page, they can change things here. They can add text. They can say, this is a link, and this is italic. Stuff like that. Simple. This is a link, right? Probably is. Let's see. To HTTPS Google, for example, in a new window, please. Yep. And we press save. As simple as that. But I promised you a form builder, and it's also in there. We just copy pasted it. And here's our form. We can have multiple forms. This is our first form. It goes to me. I have multiple addresses. It says new submission. It redirects to JekyllConf 2019 _live. That seems right. And then there's a form engine. I cannot change, but it should be Cloud Canon because I forgot something. I'll show you later. And here are our fields. And we asked for if somebody is a male or a female, and we don't think that's appropriate these days. So let's remove that. And we save it. Sorry, I said I forgot something. That's right, I forgot something because here they say, well, it's really nice if you add this code to your config file because you get pre-selections in Cloud Canon. So let me show you. I will do that like this. And if we go to Cloud Canon now, we'll have a thing that is, let's see, we committed this. Let's see, did it rebuild? Check changes. Yep, it should rebuild now. All right. And now, if it's correct, we'll have the option to change our input type with the drop down. That's really nice. And we also can change our form engine from Cloud Canon to FormBucket, FormSpree, Netlify, whatever you want. This is all, you know, I coded some examples. You can see them, you can find them on Jekyll Codex. They're especially for front-end developers. I'm a front-end developer myself. That's why I built this. Build this for you guys so you can reuse this code, build websites within. We're 27 minutes in. In 27 minutes, you can have a fully functioning website. Look at it. It's responsive. It has a form builder, everything you need, a CMS, hosted on a CDN. Yeah, that's it. People say it's lightweight. It's lightweight. It's simple. It's powerful. Okay.
Great job, Joost.
Back to Mike, I think.
Yeah, that was really cool. I haven't actually seen someone do a form builder before, so that was really interesting.
Thank you.
And at the beginning, you were mentioning that themes was kind of the default way to get started. And yeah, I agree. Like I see a lot of issues with that current onboarding to Jekyll at the moment, because one of the beauties of Jekyll is if you have a Jekyll site, you can see how everything fits together. And it's very simple. Everything's just a file. But as soon as you have a theme, then it's a really powerful feature, but that becomes abstract. And it's
Absolutely.
not as...
I think it's really powerful. It's really cool. We've seen it, the previous speaker talk about it in how to use it very effectively.
Yeah.
But yeah, it may be a turnoff for some front-end developers that are starting.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, and same with base URL. Like it's a necessity, but it's really easy to mess up. And if there's any sort of asset loading problems, it's probably base URL.
Yeah, but it's easy to, well, it's easy. It's possible to build a website within, 25, 30 minutes.
It is indeed.
From scratch without a command line. So I hope a lot of front-end developers will get enthusiastic from this and we'll start building Jekyll websites.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time.